Good morning, afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm George Moss, again here at allpointstv.com for another edition of What's Going On. And we come across the airways normally at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Mondays, and when I'm not running behind schedule, as I am today, we're standing with you for an hour. But today we are going to do an abbreviated part of the program. We are here every Monday, but sometimes we have to do other things in the community. And this is one of those days. So we'll be around for about 30 minutes today, and we hope you will stay tuned for the next 30 minutes. We'll talk to you about just a few things. Want you to stay tuned to all the programs here at allpointstv.com, because the people here at the studio, I can tell you from behind the scenes that they are doing everything they can to bring you, in each program that we do here, a quality program. And they meet here about an hour before the show comes on, all except the day when I'm running behind. And they're here to spend some time before they go on the air. And when they go on the air, we've kind of talked over what we're going to be doing. And we kind of run it by each other first to make sure that we've tightened as many of the votes down before we come before the public. And from that point on, then the person will go before the cameras on their own. And if we all kilter, then John, of course, has a stick out there at the control center. And he and the other technicians come in and make sure that they bang us one. It's accountability at the studio, unlike it is in Washington. Okay, we want to talk about some things that are coming up currently, in the political arena. And I want you to read my article today. I did an article before I came to the studio, which is one reason I'm running behind. And then I've got to go to another event where we are going to be interviewing some candidates for the 10th district that are running for the seat that's being vacated in Michigan, the one that's being held by Candace Miller, one or two seats that's open seats in the state. So I'll be out there as part of the team that's going to be doing the interview of those persons. It'll be aired tomorrow on Tom Summers' program, one of the alternative studios here in the city of Flint. He's pretty good, but he's not allpointstv.com. And I have to say that because that's where I am. I have to give myself a plug. What I wrote today, I want you to go and read my post on Facebook. What I wrote today, I try to write some things that nobody else is writing about. And I wrote today some things that I hope will fill in some of the pieces of the puzzle that are missing. So you won't get confused out there thinking that this election is about how many persons that Donald Trump kissed 30 years ago, because this election is about a whole lot more than that. And if you just begin to think about how much is at stake in this election, you'll see that I'm not exaggerating when I say that this is probably the most crucial election that has occurred in any of our lifetimes. And I don't think we're going to see anything like this again. This is what Donald Trump is saying. This is it. We've got to get this job done. We got to get it finished, and we got to do it now, because we don't have a lot of other opportunities like the one we have right now to really take it to the rulers of this country. And when I say rulers of this country, that sounds a lot strange to a lot of people's ears. And when I say that, and I know that because when I say that to people, they are surprised that you speak in these terms about what they consider to be people who really believe in the democratic ideal. And I don't know where they're getting the information from, but they're not getting it from the history books, because the democratic ideal pretty much began to come unravel under the administration of John Adams. And that's why Thomas Jefferson, the third president, and James Madison, who's called the father of the Constitution, ganged up on him and tried to defeat what was really beginning to be an unraveling of the ideals of the revolution after the second president had taken office. I mean, it didn't take long before government began to do what government has always done, and that's begin to go out of control. And so we had this. I want you to go back and just read some of the history away from what is being placed in front of the public square, in the public square, by those who write history. And they write it. See, this idea that the victors write history, that's not really true. What really the truth is that the history is validated by the rulers, by the winners. They're the ones who validate and authenticate the history that's written, and they are the ones that determine what history that's placed in front of the persons and institutions they control. And they control the schools, and so therefore the books in the school are controlled by them. And that's why you get this view of the history, which really is the history of the rulers, by the way. They've been great. They've been wonderful. And they've done everything right, and they've done everything in our behalf. And that's the history that they teach. You have to go outside of the classroom and do what I did after I got my degrees. I thought I knew all this history because I was passing all the tests. When I got out and began to read the history of some other history that I had not been taught, there's like a light bulb went on. You know, Ford had a better idea, and I began to get some of those ideas myself. And I found out that a lot of what I'd been studying in school was just the things that were institutionally true. But on the outside of the institution, there was another truth that I had to go into had to look into, because it was only part of the truth, and some of it was not even true. A lot of it was not true. But I hope they don't go back and change my grades, because I've changed my mind about what I was doing, because I'm a history. I'm in three different minors, three different majors, quite frankly, in undergraduate school. And rather than having 124 required hours for graduation, I had 141. And as I was going toward the PhD program, where you have to have what amounts to about 120 hours when you get through with the manuscript, I had, those many hours and more. But I got frustrated with the program, and to be honest with you, I was frustrated with the program once I began to read after doing the graduate program and having gone back over some things and saw that I had a degree in BS. I had a BS degree, and I got frustrated that I wasted 4 years of my life in undergraduate school when I could have been doing some other things like studying in the library, and I would have learned a lot more than I did while I was going through the 4-year program. Be that as it may, I wrote an article a day on Facebook, and I hope you will read it. It's one of the articles that I wanted to say some things away from the general view of what's being perpetuated right now in the media. This is all about Donald Trump's sex life and things of that sort, and it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a person who the American people are in back of, not a perfect candidate, but this is not about the candidate, it's about the American people taking charge of their government and reining it back under the control that it began to get out from under with John Adams. John Adams was just a second president. This thing began to become unraveled almost immediately after we had run through one administration under the great George Washington, who I keep saying over and over again, and nobody wants to hear what I'm saying about it, but I think he's the only great president that this country has spurned. He's the only one. He stands all by himself, should have a monument in another part of South Dakota, not on the Mount Rushmore, that he could stay there with the other three that are there, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Theodore Roosevelt. He can stay up there on that mountain, Mount Rushmore, can stand there with the other three. None of them belong in his company, but okay, let him stay there. But on the other side, there's other room on the other side of that mountain, then have one carved out where the whole region of that is George Washington, larger profile on that wall to give him his due as the only great president this country has produced. Now, all that other noise y'all making out there, you historians, I read behind you, and I'm not impressed. I went and read it for myself, and I will tell you what I read is that George Washington stands alone. None stands beside him, and that's just the bottom line. Now, you can go off in all these other directions you want to. I'm telling you the truth here. George Washington was a single great president this country has produced, and those that are putting up there above him, it is incredible that they would spin these stories, because those are nothing other than historical lies validated by the rulers. Now, what I wrote about today, because I wanted to say some things about this election, but go back and grab some other things about other elections that have occurred to show you that these rulers are not who made this country great. They just didn't. The politicians are not great. The American people are great. And we need a government that is representative of the American people. And what they've been working on, quite frankly, over a period of time, is working on turning the light out among the American people so that they, as politicians, can do what politicians do. And that is to go out of control and take more power than really is what allowed to them under the restraints of law. Because basically, you know, I have to say this because it's true. Basically, politicians are outlaws. And the reason why they run for office is so that the rules they set for others are rules that they themselves don't have to follow, and they themselves do not intend to follow. I want you to see something here, even along that line, because if you notice it, everybody's squawking right now. They had an article in the New York Times yesterday, and everybody's squawking about Donald Trump having said that if he is elected president, he's going to appoint a special prosecutor, and he's going to have the prosecutor look into the violation of the law by Hillary Clinton, and also look into the investigation that was made about her violations. And everybody's squawking about, oh, this is, what was that, tin pot? This is tin pot politics, and this is a slippery slope we're going down, and all of these things they're saying. This is not a slippery slope that he'd be going down. The slippery slope is when you don't hold everybody to the same rule of law through which no one is exempted, and certainly our political class. I mean, you know, it's like if they're going to hold us accountable for not lying to them, I mean, we can't, you got to be kidding. We can't lie to the rulers. I mean, you sit in front of them, let's say they call you up to where they are, and we're testifying in front of them, and we run a lie by them. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to call you to account under the rule of law and prosecute that lie because we can't lie to the rulers. Okay, fine, we put them there, right? What if they lied to us? I mean, what if they lied to we, the people of the United States?
If you remember, can you recall when they actually told us the truth about anything? I can't. They lie about everything. They lie about I think they change their names and lie about that. I mean, they lie about everything.
John, if they open their mouth, you know what John Williams says over there at George Mason University? He says that the way you tell if a politician is lying is look and see if they're moving their lips. And that's certainly my litmus test. If they're talking, they're lying. But we can't lie to the rulers. And it's because we have two sets of laws. So, okay, let's say we can't lie before the members of Congress. Sitting before them, and we take, you know, you put your left hand on something, on the Bible. They're now using the Quran, and it looks to me like we may all be using the Quran. We let this thing keep getting out of control. But you put your left hand on a book that, or maybe just raise your hand, because they don't even go through that anymore. Just raise your hand and just start saying what you have to say. And don't mention anybody's name that you believe in, unless it's somebody that comes out of another part of the world. Because if you say that you believe in a Judeo-Christian experience, you got a problem on your hand. But okay, let's say we have to be honest. Okay, I'll buy. Okay, let's do a quid pro quo here, that we can't lie under oath to them. But they took an oath too, didn't they? And their oath was to, number one, this is what the oath was about, by the way, to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States in the name of we the people of the United States who are trying to have a more perfect union. You know, we're trying to establish justice. We're trying to ensure domestic tranquility, even in Charlotte, North Carolina, even in Baltimore, Maryland, even in Washington, D.C. We're trying to provide for the common defense so they don't destroy the military. We're trying to promote the general welfare, and that includes everybody and not just the ones that Obama wants to ensure liberty for. Promote the general welfare. That's the welfare of all the people, which is what Donald Trump is talking about. And secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves. That's today. I feel like George Wallace here. Today, you know, when you're saying segregation today, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. Of course, he was a Democrat. And that's why he was saying it.
established fact. You could do horrific stuff, say horrific stuff, as long as you got a D after your name, you're fine. I mean, you could be a mass murdering rapist.
That's what it
as long
amounts
as you're a
to.
Democrat, it's fine.
The Washington Post are not going to investigate it, and neither is the New York Times. All that's forgiven. All those excesses, but hold on, because there's some stuff coming out. You may not have heard about it. It's coming out on the Drudge. The Drudge report got it, a reference to it. Hold on, because you want to talk down there in the gutter. Hello, somebody, because they getting ready to go down there with them. I mean, for them to tell us what they told us last week and week before last and week before that when they go low, we go high. Michelle Obama said that. How does she out of didn't even talk out of one side of her mouth? Said it out of the front of her mouth that when they go low, we go high. When did they do that? I mean, yeah, you went high. They were so offended that Donald Trump said something to somebody 11 years ago in 2005, the year they got married again, his third time. His problem is he loves women too much. And that's now actionable, but they don't have any baggage. When he goes low, they go high because he says some things, and they go high when they bring the rap artists in there who are saying something lower, much worse than what he said. But only their stuff has been called to heal, and what they're saying, there's no problem with that. This is the kind of hypocrisy you get on the left, but you only get it 24 hours a day, and it's not 8 days a week. So at least they're not doing what the Beatles talked about, only 7 days a week. But when they go high, they are going low. But there's going to be something coming out. Keep watching your channel, because they're going to go with them on this one. You see, Gloria Allred made a mistake here with Donald Trump, and a lot of folks are doing that with Donald Trump, and that's underestimating this man. No, he's not a perfect candidate. We haven't had any perfect candidates, not even George Washington.
You know, that's the thing is that the people on the right expect things from people and are willing to own up to the fact that they're not meeting the mark. The left turns blindly. I mean, there's like this naivete, this childishness on the left. They have this hero worship. I mean, they built a cult around Hillary. They built a cult around Obama. They built a cult around Bill Clinton. And they're supposed to be the intellectuals. They're disgustingly childish in that respect.
They are, and the reason and what it comes out of, and John, you know this as well as I do, because we talk about it off camera a lot, and that is because what the left does is that it holds up the standard for others through a utopian vision they carry, but they don't carry that vision for themselves. They think they are the utopian expression. The utopian vision is the perfect society, right? Because what they are is what Kapigin talks about in his book called The Snapping of the American Mind. What they are, I'm talking about the ones on the left, what they are utopian revolutionaries. Now, the utopian plateau and the utopian slide rule, or the rule that they use to measure everyone else's excesses, is through the utopian vision. That is the vision that they represent. But they don't see the same application of that vision in their own lives because they think they represent that. They are representatives of it. And yet, when you look at the left, they are the ones who, like this one person said on one of the YouTube videos, is that the ones who are on the left who are doing the most screaming are the ones who are most in need of changing their orientation. And they're doing all the hollering at others as if they've already perfected the vision themselves and a representative of the vision, utopian vision, that they are turned in terms of trying to prosecute in the lives of others.
That's a point there. You use the terminology they use, the vision. And people like Bill Clinton said the vision. The only people I have personally met that had a vision were what people dropping LSD. So I don't want to follow them into anywhere. Okay, so you know what, the government, to me, the best thing to do is basically say, you have your own visions. We'll have this avenue free and clear so you can pursue that, your visions, your ideas, your dreams, whatever it is.
If the utopian world would be one in which the visions are respected and that everybody is able to be self-actualizing within the zone of where they are carrying forth their vision that has nothing to do with interfering with the sovereignty of others who have a vision that may counter that vision, but have the right to pursue that as well. I mean, that's what we said, didn't we? In the Declaration of Independence, we said to pursue happiness. It doesn't tell us that you are to be, in fact, guaranteed it. You have to be in pursuit of it. And then the other person has to pursue it in that person's realm of life. And everybody's pursuing their happiness. We hold this truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal. And if we have that as a part of the vision, and women too, by the way, then if we are all created equal and we have the vision that we all have the right to pursue happiness, it does not mean then that we all pursue happiness in the same way. As long as their pursuing happiness does not interfere with the pursuit of others who are also pursuing happiness within their own visionary outlook, then that's a good thing, because it grows the idea of freedom by everyone being free to exercise sovereignty within their own space. And that does not have anything to do with the space of others who are doing the same thing in a different time period and within a different persona. That doesn't bother anybody. Let everybody pursue their dreams. But that's not what the left is talking about. The left is talking about something else. See, the one vision is I'm okay and you're okay. That's a tremendous vision. I'm okay and you're okay. But that's not what the left is talking about. The left is what the left is representing is a vision of I'm okay and you're not okay, and you can't be okay until you're okay in the way that I'm okay in this vision that I'm carrying. And if you don't carry this vision, then you're not okay. And I meet that vision all the time. I wrote about it yesterday. I meet it with some of my friends. And I was saying here, and I will call them on it. I don't mind them knowing I call them on it in public. I have some friends that are buffoons just like anyone else has. I'm not going to get rid of them because I consider them to be buffoons. I have some buffoons in my life like everyone else. I can't avoid people that I disagree with or disagree with me. And that's not the way I want to organize my life. Be around all those who agree with me. No one on the outside of the way in which I look at things through a certain political prism. I don't want agreement. In fact, people are surprised. I meet with this one group, people that knock on your door. You know what I'm talking about. This one group, there's only a group out there that really knock on your door. The rest of them are arrested. They think they're supposed to be out there, they're supposed to get in their cars and drive on Sunday. That's it. you pay your tithe, you go there, and that's it. I meet with them on Thursday for an hour and a half, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to be converted, but I can listen to them. And my friends are shocked when they try to claim, you're trying to convert them. That's not why I'm meeting with them. I don't even open my mouth hardly. They ask me to read some passages. I read some passages. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I can listen to the other point of view. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to accept it. Some of it I do agree with, but I don't have to agree with it. I just want the person to have a studied view, and they do have a studied view, and I respect that. I don't have to agree with it. Long as a point of view based upon some studied information that someone has, I can listen to it. What I can't listen to is fools.
Nietzsche said that he, and the voice of Zarathustra. Zarathustra wants friends, companions. He doesn't want followers, and that's left for you. They want followers. They want followers.
They want followers. They want converts. And you know what? What was that? Goff that said this. You've not converted a man because you silenced him, and they want to silence people. I'm not trying to silence anybody. I'm trying to give people their voice, and I think this election will lend itself to that in terms of what we can, if we take the bull by the horns, what we can accomplish in this election. I'm not talking about a perfect candidate. There are not going to be any perfect candidates. George Washington wasn't a perfect candidate, but he was the man of the hour. And if he had not been there, America would not be standing today in the way in which it stands today in 2016. It would be impossible.
Well, look at Churchill. He drank a pint of gin a day. He was a philanderer. He was a womanizer. He was very vulgar in many ways. I mean, he was supposed to be, and let's face it, it took a man like, him to see England through the time he was there. I mean, they're not ideal people.
You know what? They threw Churchill, after World War II came to a close, they threw Churchill out of power but they had him in there because he was a man of the hour after Chamberlain. After Chamberlain, you needed Churchill.
Churchill's like the person the old war. My friend's got an image of himself because he's so right wing. Okay, and people say, I have told him, you're the type of person we should have behind glass with a hammer that says breaking emergency. And that's the only time he should be unleashed. Like Demolition Man. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
And basically, you put him in cryogenic freeze. Only bring him out when you want to actually someone go absolutely insane and get stuff done. But
John, history calls us to be great. But it doesn't call us to be great in everything. It calls us to be great based upon the hour for greatness to manifest itself. You can't be great all the time.
Well, look, Ulysses S. Grant is considered a drunk, and people told, and Lincoln said, "Well, find out what he drinks and give every one of my generals a barrel full, because he wins battles."
Yeah, and that's because he was replacing McClellan. Lincoln said, we're just talking off the subject matter a little bit, but that's fine. I like to kind of bring these other points in. That's because Lincoln was trying to find somebody who would fight. And he had said about McClellan, George C. McClellan, that if McClellan does not want to fight, tell him I'd like to borrow the army for myself. And he found Grant. Grant was fighting too much and too recklessly, to be honest with you, because Grant was getting everybody killed. It was just a war of attrition. He's just going to wear you down we got more men over here than you got over there, and we're going to wear you down through attrition. And eventually that's what prevailed. He wasn't a better fighter than Robert E. Lee. Robert Lee was a greater general, but didn't have the manpower and the firepower. And if they'd had what the North had, the war would not have lasted 4 years. But they were fighting a man down there who was at the top of his game.
Well, they said, like Bismarck said, God is on the side of heavy artillery, and that's basically what it was with the Union. They just grabbed people right coming off the boats in New York Harbor. You're now in the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
Basically that's what it was. So.
He was a West Point graduate, and when you fought against Robert E. Lee, you were fighting against a great general. I don't know what they say about him in terms of history books. I'm telling you that we don't need to exhume this man or take his statue down. This man was fighting for a cause, and we got to get away from this idea of slavery and look at the cause he was fighting for, because this is a fight we're in right now.
Lee didn't have any slaves. General Grant got some through his wife.
Grant had slaves. And they had slaves in the Union. And we got to get away from this junk they're teaching in school and get to the real history that's not validated by the politicians, and authenticated by what they will allow and won't allow to be placed in front of us as we come in through their institution they control, called the school system. I want us to get on the same page here with this election, because this is it, folks. We're going to have to not be sidetracked this time. And we're going to have to watch these people too, because all this noise they're making about the polls and things of that sort, our lying eyes are telling us a different narrative. And that is, what we're saying is that this election is not even close. And they're telling us that she's leading, they say Hillary Clinton, crooked Hillary is leading Donald Trump by this many points, or leading by that many points. And yet our lying eyes only see that the ones that are going to these rallies on Donald Trump's side, 20 and 30,000. I mean, these are football stadium numbers. Over there in the other arena, we don't see that enthusiasm over there in the camp. We don't even see it when they bring out all of the so-called, big guns. Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, who the polls tell us that he has 52% support among the American people. I don't believe those polls either, because I don't run into those persons. And I run into somebody, and I will run into somebody as much as I'm on Facebook that's in fact validating the claims of the popularity of Hillary Clinton. I don't see anyone on Facebook defending Hillary Clinton, none. And I don't see anybody going to her rallies either. I got some friends trying to convince me that at her rallies what they're doing is filming after they leave. That's not what they're doing. They're filming at the beginning of a rally so nobody is there. So I'm just, look, keep your eyes on what's going on. I'll be back next week when I have more time. And it'll certainly be after the debate coming up Sunday. narrated by Chris Wallace. That will give you something to think about, because what you have with this debate coming up is more specificity of the topics going to be discussed. It won't be this generic kind of topic that allow you to go into all this other stuff, such as the personal things. He's named the topics. The topics are very specific. They're on the issues of the day, and now we're getting ready to go down to brass knuckles in the next debate. Watch it very carefully. Don't let anybody take the election from you. Make your voice count. And we will, in fact, have something to celebrate, I think, on November the 9th, if all goes according to plan. Okay, got to get out of here because we're running to another event. Stay tuned to all the programs here at allpointstv.com. We hope to see you real soon. Until next time, we want you to follow your dream, because if you don't follow your dream, you'll never know what's on the other side of the rainbow.